Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Harvest League. In this episode, I'm going to be going over the chest plate, well, two chest plates, the Brass Dome versus Saqawal's Nest. How you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. So, we're going to be discussing this Brass Dome versus this Saqawal's. So, a lot of people may have been following my progress throughout the last few seasons and my builds and all that, and so I need to give a brief introduction to Saqawal's and Brass Dome and my experience. So I started my builds like when I started to become popular and why people know about the Saqawal's in our summoner builds. So I was using Saqawal's in a zombie baron build because it was great for strength stacking. It gave mana reduction, mana reserve reduction. Yeah, it was really cool. Aspect of the Avian was a really cool free aura extra gem. And in zombies specifically, it was extremely good. Transition this into the future when they killed zombies and we don't play the Baron build anymore because they nerfed the Baron, Shaper's Touch, Zombies, Feeding Frenzy, you name it, dude. One after every single thing nerfed. Okay, so then we transitioned into, instead of using this 800x zombie build last season, halfway through the season, I said, fuck this shit, zombies are dead, let's try something else. So I re-rolled to Stone Golems. And I tried to make Stone Golems work and immediately felt the 1000 regen, big damage, cool slamming, kind of awkward, but overall it was just an improvement from the zombies. And I still ran the Saqawal's, and I still ran, it was a 50% reduced crit and +2 socketed, like, aura gems for my purities. It was a super min-max like 2kx build, and that's when Saqawal's was really sick because the 10% mana reserve to help me run all those auras. I had jewels with 1% mana reserve. It was really stupid. It was actually a really dumb point of a build, and after doing that, we tested out for fun. We tried out Carrion Golems, and it turned out Carrion Golems were the best fucking thing all around. And so what I'm trying to get at is, last season we ended with ESCI Carrion Golems, and we thought it was the best, but that's only when you have like 2000x in a build, super min-max. So I tried to switch to ESCI early. This is now where we get to the comparison of Saqawal's versus Brass Dome. So I had a great working build, tier 16, AFK Blight. I put out these videos, they were amazing, how to AFK Blight. It was so easy, my build's OP. And then I also put out the life version for people to follow, but I switched to ESCI. And I was wearing the Saqawal's. And so now after testing it early, even with, like, I have a decent amount of currency. I had the Clarity Watchers. I had most of the stuff. I had 4,000 something energy shield, 4,400 energy shield. I had the 50% reduced crit. So now I will tell you the straight up comparison. So Saqawal's is just not as good anymore in our build. Okay, guys. So to put it simply, the damage from the aura is really bad in the Carrion Golem build, and so it's actually better just to run like Pride and Dread Banner Pride, and I run Skitterbots now to run with a vulnerability Profane Proxy to get vulnerability without having to use an Animate Guardian. But this video is mostly about the chest plates, and so when you use the Saqawal's, in my opinion now, it's because you're going to go ESCI, and you want the energy shield from the chest plate, and you can make up for half of a Brass Dome with the reduced crit, but that 50% reduced crit isn't enough, because that 50% extra damage from a crit really fucking hurts, especially for fireballs trying to survive one-shots. The Brass Dome is incredible. So imagine like this. Let's say a monster can crit for 2 times damage, and you're only taking out half of the damage, so you're taking 1.5 times damage. With the Brass Dome, you're taking 1 times damage. Without the corruption and a Saqawal's, you're taking 2 times damage, not counting any more crit multi, etc., whatever else they could do to crit. So this is ridiculous, really powerful to get rid of crit. Okay, so then the second thing is wearing a brass dome gives you 5600 armor that you don't get with a Saqawals, and when you go ESCI, you want to run all this gear that's ES, so you have no armor in the entire build. And so armor, I did some math. I was playing around with Path of Building, which I'm going to do now. We're going to pull up my build, and we're going to show what armor can actually do. So it's pretty fun. Let me show you guys what armor actually does in the game. It's pretty neat. Let's swap over to my second page where we have my build, and let me just select clusters because the primordial bonds matter. I'm only using 2 right now because I'm in transition back to life build to be like you guys, and I needed the dex from the skill tree and the res from the skill tree. After this though, I can probably go and get the extra cluster. We have an extra jewel socket I'm not using yet, but anyways, point of it is to show Carrions and to show my life and to show the damage reduction from the using the brass dome. So pretty much the biggest, if you want the like TLDR, like too long didn't read, but you want to know all about which one's better, I think the brass dome is better and going life is better. So now I'll explain. So real quick, the armor I have, you can see 8,240. So now I want to put in a physical hit. So again, this is the physical hit of Shaper Slam, and it reduces your physical damage reduction to 45. So if you didn't have a big hit, okay, if you didn't have a big hit, 80%, so 35% from the armor, right? As soon as you get one of the biggest hits in the game, Shaper Slam, 17,000 physical damage. Oh wait, that's corpse life. I messed up. As soon as you get one of the biggest hits in the game, look how effective the armor is. And so then you could see how effective really is it. If you go to 35,000, it's 42. So 3% was from a thing on this big amount of damage. So then I was curious about the Minotaur, because other forms of damage. Let's figure it out. So Minotaur was 7,908 in a slam. And so physical damage reduction 9%, so this is making it at like 7% effective against the physical hit, where so you're gaining physical damage reduction with armor against really big hits. So then it's like, okay, well what is it without the big hit? Oh my god, you gain a lot. You gain a lot. Armor is actually really cool. Look, 49, 59. You gain 10% when the hit halves. So for really big physical hits, armor's useless. Sure. Or it's not useless, it's just not as great. But then, against every other hit in the game, where I'm thinking, dude, so there was this strat before that I did, where I was running Spirit Offering, cast when damage taken, so that when I would get hit for a small hit, it would be basically always mitigated because I had Spirit Offering. When you get hit, it would just mitigate it, and the hit would have to be higher than 3,000 to get break the Spirit Offering, or it would have to be chaos damage to go through the energy shield. So here we see that this is obviously for physical hits only, and so then I take it like this. Okay, so this is extra damage reduction that we have that we didn't have with no armor. Okay, so pretty much imagine that, let's say I had 40% physical damage reduction, 50% physical damage reduction, and I get hit for 500. This is going to matter, okay, you'll see in a second. So let's say I get hit for 500, but I have no armor. So I'll take half of that, 250. And let's say the monster can attack 5-10 times a second, so it's doing 2,500 to 5,000 damage a second, but it's all in little hits, and so it's still doing the damage. It's just it would have been mitigated is what I'm saying. There's stuff that would have been mitigated. Let's say I have 10 enemies on me and they all do 250, and so then the 10 attacks per second thing can actually become realistic, where you take 2,500 to 5,000 damage from little shits because you don't have armor. And so just having armor is to mitigate actual little hits so that you have only to worry about the big hit. And so armor's really sick. And so then only worrying about the big hit, then you add in all the mitigations and all that. And if armor gets calculated after, which I don't think it does, I think armor gets calculated before damage reduction. I think it just calculates the fucking total hit against the armor. And so the overall takeaway is that if you want to be tankier and you want to be surviving a lot more shit and you want to feel better about the build, I would recommend a brass dome. And honestly, Saqawal's doesn't even look that good anymore. The avian looks terrible in the build now. Like, it doesn't look very good. Just to put it into perspective, this is with avian. It was 100,000 damage, and it would be double if I did Saqawal's. And it takes 25 mana reserve. So that's pretty crazy. Let's show this. It's like just not as much as I would have expected, whereas I'll show, for example, I expected a lot more. Where the fuck? Oh. Out of pride. You're right, pride's insane, and that's only half of it. It doubles the damage in the 4 seconds. So yeah, and I think it's a bigger area, and then you have to run Saqawals for this one. Whereas I honestly believe in the brass dome. So then people will ask what are replacements for the brass dome. Well, you can't make up for the anti-crit unless you get it in a couple places. And otherwise you could use like a random 6-link chest plate with some life. You can use the crab chest plate if you just want high armor. It won't have the reduced crit, which honestly the brass dome's just kind of OP. They might have to do something. It's kind of sick at helping you survive. So the brass dome is highly recommended. Armor is not a useless stat when it comes to normal hits. When it comes to only big hits, it's useless pretty much, because the hits are going to be bigger than the fucking armor you get, and therefore they just literally negate the entire armor. It's kind of insane. But for all the little hits, it really matters. And I'm also like, there's just other things in the game where they deal physical over, I don't know. There's just a bunch of shit where some armor really will make the field feel better. Also, now, the extra, if you guys are wondering about ESCI versus life, this is a separate one. Why did I go life? Back to life. The main reason isn't the brass dome, because I can go the brass dome in the ESCI version. I didn't need to go Saqawals. It's because it's not just the brass dome. So this glorious vanity Zabakwa timeless jewel is the secret. This saves you 105 mana reserve and 3 or 4 jewels in your build, gems in your build. So imagine it like this. If you don't run this and you go ESCI, you have to run all 3 purities, purity of ice, fire, and lightning, and probably an enlighten, and then you have to make up for all that mana reserve, because good luck running all those auras, or you have to get rid of pride. And so we come to the result of fuck ESCI. I want to go divine flesh, so mind over matter turns into divine flesh. I will pull it up for you so that you understand what I'm saying for this part of the video, because I want to include this. I think it's relevant for the people clearing up things in the build. Brass dome, ESCI versus life. Okay, so this is the main reason I was watching poker. Don't worry about that. Okay, Divine Flesh is a keystone passive skill that converts 50% of LE damage taken to chaos damage and grants an additional maximum chaos resistance, but causes all damage to bypass energy shield. So we become a pure life build. So 10 to max chaos res, and half of LE is taken as chaos. So now, remember that we just upgraded our physical damage reduction and our armor. So now we're not going to be dying to physical hits as much, or even at all, right? It's insane. Shaper Slam's the thing that's going to kill us. Maybe Delving. But now I tell you, okay, so secretly, this doesn't show because the Timeless Jewel in the game, let me just show in-game. Actually, I could do that. In-game, I have this Timeless Jewel. and it gives me the Divine Flesh, but then also it gives me Cult of Chaos. This was luck. It was pure RNG. I got 1 to max Chaos Res, 18 Chaos Res, another 8 Chaos Res here, so I have 26 Chaos Res from my Timeless Jewel. So in the POB, it shows that I don't have Chaos Res cap, but I do, and it's at 86 instead of 75. And so now, the really funny thing is, so imagine half of Ellie. Okay, let me put it like this. Really good physical damage reduction against most hits and most of physical damage, except for the really big hits, yeah. And then even against big hits, I have pretty good damage reduction because of the physical damage reduction that I have. It's not bad. It's better than most builds. So then, I look at Chaos Res, and it's like, okay, so I could go CI, but I have 86. Now, at 75 Chaos Res, I'm not gonna lie, you're pretty unkillable to most Chaos damage except for Delving. And then you push it. So at 86, fuck me, dude. No Chaos is gonna kill me. Poison doesn't matter. The next thing is Elemental. So half of it is against the 75-76. Sure, that's half of my damage. Now, what about the other half? The other half is against 86. So then I'm like, well, if you just average it out, take the 75 and the 86, add them together, divide by 2, you get the average. So what you get is 80.5. And so a viewer pointed out, if you raise your Chaos Res, it would overall technically affect the LE damage as well. So it's double dipping if you raise the Chaos Res. So this jewel giving me Chaos Res is hilarious. We could get another 3% from one jewel. I actually like it. I didn't get what he meant at first. I give him full credit. He's right. That is genius. So then yeah, it's like we have 80.5 reses. So it's almost as if we have Purity of Ice, Lightning, and Fire with the +2 level, so that they're level 23, so they have the 5% reses, without going CIES, without going 105% auras, without needing an Enlightened, without needing 4 gems, all just in one Timeless Jewel. And I will add, this is the really crazy part. This is what made me really decide to go back. It's like, I don't have another Timeless Jewel to go. There's not a single other Timeless Jewel keystone in the game right now that I want. They all suck, in my opinion, for what we're doing, and this is the best one. So I should be using it, because it's the best one for us. It's so sick. And then it gives us the crazy defenses. We're actually well balanced across the board, and so just genuinely, this is tankier, it's better, it's cheaper, it's easier. Fuck the CIES. And so the only reason the CIES worked last season is because I had so much invested, and it's like, well, actually, was it even worth it? No, because I ended up just getting back to this, which actually it was even worse than this. So the only reason you could go the ESCI Saqawals is for big damage and chaos immunity. It's like you're going to make worse physical damage reduction, worse LE reses, unless you use the purities, and that'll cost way more. And yeah, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So overall, I like the life build. I think this is well balanced, and so there's no point in raising the reses. You should raise the chaos res, because it's converting from LE to Chaos, and so that's why the guy mentioned going for 90 Chaos cap would be actually hilarious. It's pretty sick. Either way, I hope this video can help people deciding between the Brass Dome and the Saqawals. Saqawals isn't useless. If you have the Saqawals, it's perfectly fine. It's still a 6th link. It gives attributes. It gives mana reserve. It's not terrible. If you're using Aspect of the Avian with it, it's technically not terrible. Like, it's fine, guys. But I'm just saying that, look, you don't need it. And then look at what we can replace it with, which is directly something we want in the build. More physical damage reduction, because the rest of our stuff, 86 chaos res, the reses being capped and having the 80.5 going against the 86 chaos res, it's pretty sick. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for all the support. I can't do this without you guys. Thank you to everyone on the Patreon and the YouTube members. Thank you to anyone new who joins today, and I'll see you guys in today's stream. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Bye!